we need something to look forward to at the moment, don't we? And this is definitely it. Call the Midwife has resumed filming for their latest Christmas special after the show was forced to halt production due to the coronavirus. Oh, that's what we need with a threat of Christmas being cancelled.
I know.
We need a bit of Call the Midwife, don't we?
Yes, we do.
We know
Love
we've got
that
that
show.
on screen.
Right, Jenny Agutter, who plays Sister Julienne on the show, has now become an ambassador for Liberty Choir UK, a charity who brings choral volunteers into jails to sing alongside prisoners. Jenny joins us now from the lovely Cornwall. Good morning to you, Jenny. How did you get involved in the choir?
I knew somebody who was in it to begin with, and then I did an interview with a journalist whose partner is known by the name of MJ, who was the director of the choirs, and she talked about the work they were doing. I had visited a prison before because of knowing St Giles Trust and working with St Giles Trust when I can, which is an organisation that works with ex-offenders and in prisons and tries to set up programmes for them. So when I heard what she was doing with the choir, I said, yes, I would like to go to prison and see how it all worked. And I was hugely impressed by the visit and the way people were affected by it. I don't sing very well myself, but that's not the point. The point is to be a part of a group. And being in prison, I mean, clearly, the idea is that you spend your time there and then you come out and then you get back into civilization and to work and to social, all the things that we can enjoy. And it doesn't really promote that because, of course, you're cut off for a long period of time. And what I felt was that the people that I joined, because you have half, you have half choir and then half people from the prison. And the people from the prison sit either side of you, so it's choir and then it's the prisoners. And you have a sense of doing something together, and you have the music. And for so many, they can also go on from that choir to join a choir outside afterwards, which one of MJ's choirs. It was just an extraordinary experience, and I felt one that made a huge difference to these people's lives and gave an opportunity to see that there's something else.
We've really seen, haven't we, how important it is for mental health being in choirs, because during lockdown and during the whole COVID pandemic, it's been very difficult for choirs to come together and people have suffered for that. So you can imagine how much it would do for someone who is in prison to have that sense of community, and the simple act of singing is therapeutic in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, so you have the two things. You have the music, you have the singing, you have the combination of people being together, and you suddenly have, amidst your time in there, there's the possibility to actually feel connected again, that there is something else, that there is a world out there. COVID has created its own problems, of course, because there have been no visitors to prison at all. And so Liberty Choir set up a radio along with the National Prisons Radio. So they go into 100 prisons now. They've been going, when the programme is live, they go into Wandsworth and to Highdown. But this gave them the opportunity with the radio to go into 100 prisons across the country, both men and women, and present a programme which made people connect a little with the outside. In fact, I was asked to do something for it, and they said, well, I read something from Railway Children. So I read a passage from the end.
Having gone through all of that, you say you've been to 100 prisons. What's your opinion of prison now that you've actually been inside so many? And do you think prisons work?
It's a system that is really ancient, and the idea that you give the punishment and then people can just get back into their ordinary lives, just the way it's set up, it doesn't really work. There's very little support given outside of the punishment itself, of the period of time in prison. So what one's meant to be able to do is forget. But if you've been there, I don't think it does work, because the reoffending happens because there aren't many opportunities to just get back into society in an ordinary way. Something like the choir, because it sets up, they keep in contact with the prisoners that they work with afterwards. I met someone called Richie, who had been what they call a revolving door prisoner. He had been never out of, every 2 Christmases he would be back in prison again. And then, having joined the choir, he then felt committed to something, and for the past 7 years, he has spent all of his Christmases and had time with his grandchildren. He had very little time with his own son when he was growing up, but now he's spending that time with his grandchildren. And it's made that kind of a difference. And yeah, I mean, the prison systems need to look at those kinds of programs and need to make those kinds of changes to make it possible for people.
And it's wonderful because the work you're doing, it's often seen that charities that deal with prison are often seen as rather unpopular charities, aren't they? Because not everybody has sympathy with the case of prisoners, because they say, well, they've committed a crime, that's why I'm in prison. But of course, if you stop people reoffending, then what you're actually doing is saving a future victim. So it's brilliant that you're doing that.